Good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Hunt. I'm a territory manager with Thermal Products. Most of you recognize us by our trade name, Thermal Pride. We're well known in the industry for handcrafting some of the highest quality furnaces. And we'll be reviewing some of those products with you here shortly. First, I'd just like to make note that you can see I cover Central and Western PA as well as West Virginia and Western Maryland. Those of you that know Scott Swaggart, his territory, the Central PA has been his stomping grounds for a long time. You'll still see him in Central PA, but for the most part, he covers the eastern part of the state as well as Delaware and Maryland. Just want to assure you that Scott is doing well. We have transitioned some of our responsibilities due to the COVID situation, but again, I just want to assure you that Scott is doing well. Okay, my PowerPoint is not moving.
Just click on the screen and then you should be able to move it.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll be covering the Trane oil furnaces, which is an OEM product that we manufacture. But before doing that, I'd just like to explain who Thermal Products is. A lot of times when I introduce myself as Scott with Thermal Products, I get some odd looks and some scratching of the head. We're a small manufacturer that is located in Denton, North Carolina. We actually have two facilities down in North Carolina. Denton is our main manufacturing facilities where we hand weld all of our heat exchangers and assemble our furnaces. About an hour north in Norwood, we have a shared facilities with some of our sister companies, which is more of a state-of-the-art sheet metal manufacturing facility where we fabricate our cabinetry. All of our products are made here in the United States. We're also a subsidiary of Burnham Holdings, which is located in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So we have some sister companies such as Crown Boilers and New Yorker and Burnham Commercial as well as US Boiler. They're all sister companies of ours. So we're a part of a bigger thing. We're well known in the oil furnace manufacturing as an oil furnace manufacturer. We've been manufacturing oil furnaces since 1946. We're kind of a big fish in a small pond. We currently hold 40% of the oil furnace market, which is about 40,000 units. So 40% of a 40,000 units, we manufacture about 16,000 oil furnaces. And we've been making the Trane oil furnaces for well over a decade. I know you used to manage sales in the early 2000s and I think 2002. So I'm going to say we probably started at that point. I think the Thermal Products manufactured that furnace probably getting closer to 2 decades. Trane oil furnaces come in multiple configurations. We have low profile, high boy. As we review products, as we move on here, you'll see we have 2 low profile high boy furnaces. We have low boy front and rear flue, and then we have our counterflow or our downflow horizontal furnaces. For the most part, you're going to offer the configuration that best matches the system that you're replacing. There will be some exceptions. If when we talk about direct vent applications, you'll see that we can only direct vent our low profile high boy furnaces. So that might be a situation where you're removing a low boy oil furnace to replace it with a low profile high boy simply because it can be direct vented. But for the most part, you're going to use the furnace that provides the shortest amount of vent pipe and the least amount of duct transitions. And it gives you the most convenient configuration to minimize your labor and material cost to ensure that you have the best profit and the neatest professional looking installation. Trane oil furnaces have several components. All of our Beckett AFG burners, which is the most popular burner on the market. The burners do come mounted to the furnaces. We use a heavy gauge heat exchanger, just to kind of touch base on the evolution of heat exchangers. We're the old school, the hot rolled plate steel that's hand welded type heat exchangers. When the early 90s, when they came out with the high efficient condensing gas furnaces, that's where we went to a cold press steel, and you'll see that in more of a tubular clamshell design. But we're still working with the heavy gauge hot rolled plate steel. Gets a little bit confusing. If somebody did actually want the information, I could give it to you. But for the most part, we still are using 13 gauge on a lot of our low boy furnaces. You'll see some 14 with a mix of 13 gauge. When we get into our low profile high boy, we're going to see a 16 gauge, but then our crossover pipes and our inner part of the outer drum is still 13 gauge. So for the most part, I think the easy way to address that is, again, the hot rolled plate steel, hand welded, heavy gauge heat exchangers. We still do offer a PSC as well as the ECM, which you'll see is with the Trane Comfort R. In regards to the PSC, just a quick note on that, the FER changes, because there's been some confusion. The FER changes, basically, the Department of Energy says that if you're one category, for example, oil in a residential market, they say use this multiplier versus if you're gas or your heat pump in the, say, the residential market, you're given a different multiplier. So what has happened is we were able to meet all the multipliers on the oil furnace side of things. So we are staying with the PSC, and then we have the ECM option as well. All of our furnaces have switched over to fan controls. With spot limits, we're really away from the old fan centers. So again, everything will switch over. I think there's a few exceptions on the thermal pride side of things, the larger furnaces where we're still using the fan controls, but everything switched over to the fan control boards with spot limits. Everything's designed for chimney vent. Everything does come with a barometric damper. We have some direct vent kits available for select models, and we'll be reviewing that information here as well. The criteria for selecting the correct furnace after selecting the appropriate configuration. You want to consider the following, the BTU requirements for both heating and cooling. One thing nice with the furnaces, you'll see that, for example, the most popular furnace, the THV1C furnace, is what I would refer to as a 6 series heat exchanger design, and it's very versatile. So basically, we got 3 firing rates. That one furnace will fire at 60, 72, and 90,000 BTUs. So the point is, the furnaces are very versatile. It's important to understand what your heating requirements are, but they'll range from 60 to 90,000 BTUs. And then when we get up to the larger size, we'll go from 101 to 132,000 BTUs. Where you do really need to know this stuff to make sure you don't get yourself in a pinch. For example, our low boys, as we review those furnaces, you'll see where on the PSC version, we only go to 3.5 ton to get to the 4 ton to 5 ton option. We're going to have to go to ECM. So it's important to be familiar with the products, with your heating, your cooling requirements, as well as the blower options. And again, we'll have the PSC as well as the ECM, full-fledged variable speed. And it is always important to make sure that you do a load calculation to ensure that you're meeting the heating and cooling capacities. In regards to some features and benefits, Trane and the homeowner recognition, I'll just say briefly, I managed sales in early 2000, and I built something from scratch to about $3.5 million in 5 years, which I think is pretty commendable, and Trane was a huge part of doing that. So obviously Trane brings a lot to the table here, and I think Thermal Pride does as well, thermal products, but the Thermal Pride brand does as well. All of our furnaces will come with a 10-year warranty, a lifetime heat exchanger. The lifetime heat exchanger is non-prorated, but it is to the original homeowner. So if, for an example, say you have a homeowner and they move within 3-4 years, the parts warranty is to the original homeowner as well. That will revert to 5-year warranty for consecutive. So you don't have to go in and register things to get to 10, but you do want to register your furnaces, but you don't have to register to get to 10. It comes with the 10-year, but for consecutive homeowners, it'll revert back to 5 years. Same thing on the heat exchanger. If it is the original homeowner, it is a lifetime heat exchanger, non-prorated. But if it's a consecutive owner, it will go back to 20 years. Everything is going to have the 85% efficiencies. We're, again, using the Beckett AFG, which is, again, the most preferred, by far the most popular burner on the market, and the parts are very easily accessible. All of our furnaces, you guys are, I know, familiar with the Thermal Products, the brand, and the Thermal Pride brand, and we use a very heavy gauge cabinetry. Again, with the Trane, we're using the Comfort R, which we'll review some of the information in regards to that. I'm not going to get too in depth with that, but we're using Trane's ECM Comfort R for the ECM blowers. And one of the easiest furnaces to clean. The clean outs are located inside of the vestibule, which makes it nice that if you do get a little bit of soot that drops out, you're inside the vestibule. You don't have to worry about making a mess on, the homeowner's floor. In regards to the Trane oil furnaces, pretty simple product offering. When you look at this, the PSC versions are at the top, the ECM versions are at the bottom. So, for example, the first one, THV. Now, I'll show you when we get into specifications what the complete nomenclature stands for, but the T is representing Trane. TH is a Trane high boy. TL is a Trane low boy. A TD is a Trane. It's actually dual poise, or you could say downflow, your downflow horizontal. And then the next one would be, like, for example, a TLF would be your front flue. A TLR would be your rear flue. The THV is representative of a front flue as well on the high boys. So a THV 1C, the most popular furnace, that is a low profile high boy. Again, 60, 72, and 90,000 BTUs. If you follow that across, you'll see your dimensional data, your flues, and you'll see that that's 4 ton of air conditioning, 270 pounds. Then when we go to the next one, a THV 1M119, that is listed there as a high boy, but I do refer to that as a low profile high boy. That furnace is only 50 1/8 inch tall. So it is definitely a low profile high boy, but is listed there as a high boy. And again, that's going to get you a little bit larger capacity and fill the void where you need 5 ton of airflow. So that'll get you 3 firing rates, 101, 119, and 132. And again, that's BTU output. And then if you follow that across all your dimensional data, you'll see your flue size there at 7 inch and your 5 ton of air conditioning weighing 316 pounds. You have your 2 low boy front and rear flue. There's 4 firing rates from 70 to 114,000 BTUs. All your dimensional data. Here's where I was talking earlier that you only get to 3.5 ton on the low or the low boy oil furnaces in the PSC version. When you want to get to 5 ton, we're going to go down to the ECM options of that furnace. And then you have your TDF, which is, again, a dual poise or a downflow, front flue only. And that has 3 firing rates from 69 to 97,000 BTUs. All your dimensional data, 3.5 ton of airflow as well. And we look here at the first one, the THV1C. Actually, just to explain, when you look at the airflow on the top PSC versions, you'll see after the 9, the 48, that's 4 ton of airflow. And then when you go to the THV1M, 960, that's 5 ton of airflow. When we come down here to the ECM version, you'll see the THV1C. After the 9, the V representing variable speed, the 4 is 4 ton of airflow. The TLF1M 087, there's your 9, V for variable speed. The 5 is representing 5 ton of airflow. So we're going to hit our 5 ton of airflow on all of our low boys and our downflow horizontal furnace on the ECM side of things. Go to the next slide here. We have the Trane spec sheets. They're all located at myfurnace.net. There's a lot of information on these pages. We'll give you all the physical dimensions that are there, the burner data, electrical data, airflow, and both heating and cooling for the PSC and the ECM version. And this is just giving you a visual of what one of your specification sheets look like. This is for the THV1C furnace, the most popular low profile high boy firing from 60 to 90,000 BTUs. If you look at the top there, you'll see low, mid, and high fire rates. You'll see the AFUE there at 85%. Efficiency, it'll give you a lot of the information we just covered there, 4 ton of airflow. Nominal temperature rise, we'll get a little bit more detail, but generally speaking, 70-degree temperature rise is what we're looking for. All your dimensional data, your shipping weight, the size of the filters, your maximum fuse, total amp draw. A lot of information on here. Down at the bottom, you'll see the Fields Direct Vent Kit. We'll be covering some of the direct vent applications, and I'll review them in more detail. We'll go to the next one. In those spec sheets, it gives you the complete explanation of the nomenclature, which I think we covered the vast majority of it here. You'll get all your blower data, the horsepower, whether it's PSC, ECM, what kind of airflow to expect at 0.5 static pressure, diameter and width of your wheel. Here's your Beckett AFG, air tube length, and your burner head. A lot of information, your different gallon per minute nozzles at different firing rates, and what your spray angle is, and your spray pattern, your fuel pressure pump information. Again, all this information is available on the specification. Then we get here, this is also on the specification, setting up for airflow. Real simple information in regards to setting up for, say, air conditioning. You see on the left side there, 2 ton, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4 ton. On the right side there, they're telling you the recommended cooling speed. So if you were setting up a 2.5 ton, 30,000 BTUs, the recommended cooling speed would be medium low. In the middle, there's the recommended heating speeds. But we'll also go down to this chart right here, which is, again, in the specification sheets, and it's showing you at static pressure, how much airflow. So, for example, the very top chart there, say at 0.5 static pressure, if we were running medium-low fan speed, we should be receiving 1,085 cubic feet per minute of airflow. If you jump down to the next one, that same medium-low at 0.5 static pressure is telling you that you should be drawing 3.59 amps. If we go down to the following one, that's showing you high fire. The one below that's mid fire, and the one below that is low fire. But let's just look at the first one there, the high fire. If we were running that same 0.5 static pressure, medium low, we should be getting a 77-degree temperature rise. And that's real important, that especially with these furnaces, because you have multiple firing rates, that you want to verify your temperature rise to make sure we're not condensing inside the heat exchanger. And the chimney is another situation, but we'll make sure that we're not condensing in there. So we want to see that we're in that gray area. In this particular case, if we were running that at high fire, we would be right there at 77 degrees, so we would be good to go. Also, all your dimensional data is on these specification sheets, and this is giving you an example of the ECM, the Comfort R, and basically they're just showing you there the outdoor unit sizes. To the left, you got 3 options, whether you want to set it at 350 CFM per ton or 400 CFM per ton. I'm sorry, 400 CFM per ton, or you can go up to 450 CFM per ton. And if you follow that across, it gives you all your dip switch settings. And then based off of static pressure, it gives you your CFM and your watts. And down here it gives you a little illustration to the far right there of your comfort R. I'm not going to get in too much detail with that. I don't know how much you guys have covered that, but basically it's just your enhanced dehumidification mode, which again is part of your ECM blower option. We are using Trane's ECM, which is a full-fledged variable speed, not a constant torque. And again, it'll be integrated the Comfort R into these blowers. MyFurnace.net is the official Trane American Standard oil furnace website. It can be located at myfurnace.net, www.myfurnace.net. We're going to see all of our warranty registration information, claims and details. All of our literature is located there. Our manuals are located there, spec sheets. You can read them online or you can download them. This is what the website looks like. You can see the Trane tab right there. If you click on that tab, it drops down. You'll see product warranty registration, your warranty return claims, warranty details, and manual specifications. So the registering your warranty, a real simple process. This is what the page looks like. You simply put your serial number in there. You click that verify serial number, and that'll take you through the process of registering your warranty. For the warranty return claims, you'll see that that's actually done through the Trane wholesaler on this website. But there is some warranty details that is available for you. And that's what the warranty details look like right there. And then all of our manuals and specifications are located on this website as well. So it's very, very simple to navigate. A lot of information from brochures to spec sheets, and a lot of information available on here for you to download. So we're going to talk briefly on the direct vent kits. We use a Fields direct vent kit. It's only available for the low profile furnaces, and you'll see that on the spec sheets. And if you recall earlier, I showed you where that'll give you a lot of the information we're going to go over here in regards to the models of the actual direct vent kits that you use for direct vent applications. So the FDVS, which stands for Fields Direct Vent System, it's a non-powered positive pressure sidewall vent termination system. It's designed to direct the hot gases away from the structure using the static pressure that is generated by the burner. So this is not a power venter. This is a direct vent, so there's no mechanical moving components. Obviously, the benefits is no need for a chimney or a power venter. I would say that is probably by far the most popular application where I see guys using direct vent kits is when they're replacing existing power venters. You know, obviously with the cost of fuel, and we've been sustaining, pretty affordable fuel here for the past few years. I mean, we've seen an uptick in some new construction applications and things like that where you don't need to build a chimney. So obviously that's another opportunity as well. But I would say by far definitely for replacing existing power venters. It shows you the FDVS, which is the Fields Direct Vent System. The clearances is zero clearance. The FOVP is it's a double wall stainless steel. The vent pipe itself has a 1-inch clearance. The maximum length is 15 feet. So from the breech of the furnace to the actual where it's going to terminate outside that outside wall cannot be more than 15 feet, or it's just not an application. It probably could be done, but from the standpoint of our approvals and the kits that we create, they're maximum 15 feet in length. This is actually just a little clip here from the specifications showing you the Fields Direct Vent kits. So the AOPS 8393, that is for the most popular furnace, the THV1C. We have another direct vent kit for the larger, the THV1M. So there's two different direct vent kits, one for the smaller low profile and then one for the larger. Whether you're using either one, you will need an accessory kit. So the next one down is the AOPS, which, just by the way, assortment of parts system. That's our delegation. Anytime we put a kit together, you'll see AOPS. 8394, that is the accessory kit. And I'll give you a visual of what all is involved with the accessory kit. But whenever you do a direct vent kit, you will need one of two direct vent kits and the accessory kit. And then below that, you'll notice there, that is the combustion air kit only. That is for just when you want to bring combustion air in. So you'll get your combustion air boot and all the components that get you through looks like a dryer vent where you're just bringing in combustion air. That's not associated here with the actual direct vent kit. We're either going to need, like for this example here would be the THV1C, we need both the AOPS 8393 and the AOPS 8394. And what that's going to give you is, there's a good visual here of the actual termination kit, your stainless steel. Anything that touches the dirty air will be the 316L stainless steel, corrosion resistance. This is giving you just a nice visual of the concentric vent kit. So the white portion up there, that's where your combustion air intake is, and then the exhaust is coming out through the bottom there. It's about 12 by 12 in dimensions. This is giving you an actual visual of the termination kit as it goes down through the wall. You'll see where your combustion air T is. I'll just note there that combustion air T can rotate around 360 degrees. So if you wanted to get your combustion air up into a joist space, it's good to know that T there will actually rotate 360 degrees. When you look down at the bottom there, it says the model numbers, FDVS4, FDVS5, FDVS6, and then it gives you the penetration, the opening that goes into the wall. So the THV1C, the one that we just reviewed, that's actually the FDVS4. So that's a 7¼ inch opening that you'd be making. And then the THV1M, the larger, would actually be the FDVS6, the 9¼ inch opening. All your venting guidelines, this is, I'm sure, the same illustration we get with the condensing gas furnaces, where you have, you need to make sure that you get clearance for your snow levels and inside corners and a distance away from windows, and make sure you're 7 feet above breezeways, and all the very similar clearances that you need for your venting guidelines. This is going to kind of review here your components of the accessory kit. So you can see here, this is your combustion air boot. You'll remove the actual fuel pump there, and then you're going to put the black combustion air boot on there. There'll be a flexible connection, and it'll take you over to the side wall of the furnace, where you'll have a 3-inch knockout, and from there you'll have an increaser that'll take you from 3 to 4 inch. And that'll bolt into the side of the furnace. From there, you're going to supply all your combustion air piping. Off to the right there, you can see that it looks like a barometric damper. That's actually a vacuum relief. So if something were to plug up the combustion air intake, that would actually open up and pull combustion air from in the room. That comes with the kit. But you will be supplying the actual combustion air piping. Part of the kit as well is your appliance adapter. The actual vent pipe is going to be a double wall stainless steel with insulation in the middle, so we don't want to drill through that. The appliance adapter comes with a threaded little opening there where you'll put a bolt in, and you're going to remove that bolt to do your combustion sampling there. And then this gives you a look at the actual combustion air pipe, or I'm sorry, the actual exhaust pipe there, which is the double wall stainless steel. And then the kit will come with the Genesis control. So you're going to actually, there'll be a list of instructions. You're going to go in and set up a post purge. So you're going to need to get into that Genesis control. The contractor tool comes along with the actual accessory kit as well. Just touch base briefly on the ductwork in regards to, we're working with really the only hot air furnace on the market, and we're seeing some pretty high temperature rises. So the only thing I want to point out here is that we need to make sure that we are, that the minimum coil pan clearance for the sexual drum type heat exchanger is 3 inches unless specified by the individual coil manufacturer. So when we looked at the coils that you guys will be using, the pans are rated, I believe they were just over 400 degrees, so the 3 inches would apply. The one thing I would note here, I used to say, you need to lift all your coils 3 inches, and it's really not the case. You'll see, like, for example, on our low boy oil furnaces, the heat exchanger from the top of the furnace to the heat exchanger, we have about 2 inches built into that. So really, by the time you look at your coil, we're talking point of contact. We need 3 inches from the heat exchanger to your pan. So in some particular situations, you might find that you don't need to lift up, and then maybe, for example, your low profile high boy furnaces, I believe that distance is 5/8 of an inch from the top of the heat exchanger to the top of the furnace. So when you look up into your coil itself, if you only have 1/2 inches or another 5/8 of an inch, you might be talking that you need to lift that coil up a good inch or 2 inches. So I just want to point that out. It's really, we're talking about point of contact from the heat exchanger to the actual coil pan. And really the other thing I wanted to cover here, I think this is the last thing that I'll be covering, is on the style heat exchangers that you'll see in the low profile high boy furnaces, both the THV1Ms and the THV1Cs, you will see what you're looking at here is there's an inner drum and then the outer drum and a crossover pipe that connects both the inner drum to the outer drum. And when you look at that, it looks like we missed a weld there. And really, at one point, we used to put a cosmetic weld on there because we would get phone calls from guys saying that you missed a weld. But before we put the outer part, the outer part of the outer drum on, we're actually welding that crossover pipe from the inside. So we no longer put the cosmetic weld on that. So I just try to communicate that as much as possible. When you look down, so this would be a downward look at the heat exchanger, and that part in the middle is your crossover pipe where it goes into the outer drum. There is no weld there, and that is normal. Trust me, we're not going to be missing welds, but it kind of looks like that, and I just like to communicate that up front. It's a question we get pretty often. That's really all I got, so be happy to answer any questions.
Doug, was there any questions pop up, or?
No, there's no questions in the chat. If anybody would like to unmute themselves or do a chat question,
yeah,
that would be the time.
This is Paul. I have a question. I was told initially that the low profile oil furnaces come with like a 1-inch spacer to lift the coil. Is that not the case? Is it field supplied or what?
That would be no, we do not have anything that we manufacture unless that's something that Trane is doing, and I don't believe that's the case. So I believe that would be field supply. So anytime that you would need to lift your coil, you would supply that. Yes.
Okay. That is correct.
Yes. And really, the one thing that I really wanted to elaborate on there is I used to tell guys, for example, that low profile high boy furnace is down about 1 inch, lift your coil 2 inches. And it's really not the case. You have to look at each application. And like I said, on your low boy furnaces, I see a lot of them out there that the coils are setting right on top. And I've never had a situation yet where I've heard of any of these coils melting the high temperature coil. So as long as you're using the ones that Trane here has spec for you, the high temperature coils. You know, the 3 inches is the point of contact. That's the clearances that we're looking for.
Hey, Scott, the other thing we talked about, though, regarding that coil placement has to do with the airflow with the big drum directly in the center and having the ability of getting the air around the drum up through the coil to maintain good airflow across our coils for the air conditioning or heat pump modes.
Well, and that is, I mean, that is a good point, because you are correct. I mean, you know, when you're looking at the airflow is as important as having the distance between. Yes, that's a good point, as well as having the distance between the actual drum itself and the pan to obviously prevent it from melting.
Good point.
Yeah, could one of the thermobrite people cover what the fuel pump pressure is on these units?
All of the fuel pump pressures are stamped on the actual furnace itself. It's a sticker that you'll get with that, as well as your specifications. They're all listed with the fuel pump pressures. I know that they do vary. We'll see, you know, usually 120 to 140, but everything's going to be stamped on the furnace.
Any other questions, guys? I know we kind of went through the information fairly quickly, but I know Scott's a great resource, Doug, myself, Brian McAleer for customers of his that are on the call. Another great resource. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself. Like I said, Scott, Doug, Brian. Before we end the meeting, you sure there's no more questions?
How about the filters? Do they take a standard filter, or is it a metal washable filter like on the low boys?
I'm pretty sure the low profile high boys are the standard filter. That is a good question. I'm not, I'm pretty sure on that. Do you guys know by chance?
I think it is a standard filter.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Scott, we have a question. What burner are you using on the direct vent?
The AFG, and I'm glad you asked that because I do get that question come up. I know in the past we were using the NX because of the higher static pressure, but I assure you that the AFG, we've been direct venting that for, I've been here 6 years. We've been direct venting it the entire time, and yes, so that we are direct venting the Beckett AFG burners. And that's the only burner option you're going to have on the product offering here.
That's a good question. No more? Okay. Doug, Scott, you guys have anything to add before we end?
No, I'm good. We did actually move through that pretty good time.
That's great.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody's time. I don't know if you'll have this recorded. You guys, a lot of you guys should have my number. Always feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Or you can reach out to Chad as well, and he can reach out to me, and I'm sure we'll get an answer for you.
Absolutely. Whatever you guys need. All right. Well, if we have no more questions, I appreciate everybody's time, and have a great day.
Take care.
All right. Thanks,
Thank you,
Scott.
Scott.
Thanks, Doug.
Well, thank you, Scott.
Yep.